What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com, back talking about a TV show that I haven't talked about in a while. I'm talking about the 10-episode series of The Outsider on HBO. Richard Price is the showrunner. I reviewed the first 4 episodes right here on our YouTube channel. But after that, I just didn't have enough time. It wasn't really keeping me involved enough to talk about it. My viewpoint and thoughts on the show didn't really change until the last 2 episodes, with episode 9 and 10. So The Outsider is a show that really started off super strong. The introduction of Terry Maitland, his character played by Jason Bateman, really phenomenal. He's a criminal that was found at the scene, this young boy that was killed essentially, and they're trying to figure out what exactly happened. In the first 2 episodes, we see the ultimate demise of Jason Bateman's character, Terry Maitland, and honestly, at that point of the show, that's where it kind of started going downhill. Introducing a lot of other characters. The introduction of Holly Gibney, played by Cynthia Erivo. Holly Gibney is the private investigator brought in to try to solve this crime. Who is the killer? Who's the one killing these children? And they find out throughout this season that it has to do with this character, El Cuco, a demonic figure that feeds on grief. He's a grief eater. So basically meaning the death of young children in the family, mourning over the loss of the children and him feeding on them. Anybody that's close to that child being murdered, it feeds on that, and it gets stronger and stronger and transforms into other people. This creature transforms into other characters throughout the show that we find out. Basically, so Cynthia and Ralph, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and their group of cops are kind of investigating this, trying to track down El Cuco, find out who it is, and stop it once and for all. And in the middle part of the season, it's just a very slow burn, introducing some of these other characters trying to crack this crime. Cynthia Erivo's character, Holly Gibney, trying to tell everybody else in the police force, including Ralph, that, you know, it's a supernatural presence. And they don't really believe her. They think she's pretty crazy and something off about her. So there took a lot of episodes for them to finally be convinced as to the El Cuco is the outsider, the one behind all the murders. So they're on its tail, and then episode 9 and 10, it really gets good. So towards the end, we find out a lot of characters in the show. They're investigating them, wondering if they got scratched. As we know from the early episodes, it's being scratched, it's kind of being marked with the outsider, and it's not good for that person. There's a scene in episode 9, which was probably one of the better scenes of the show. They're at a local carnival, and he picks up this young kid, and he's wearing a mask, and it looks like a mask out of the new Pet Sematary movie. It was like an animal, and it really creepy. People see this happening, seeing this guy trying to kidnap this kid, and like tackle him and take off his mask, and see him all deformed, and seeing El Cuco, the outsider, has transformed into somebody else, which leads to the very final episode, episode 10 of this show, one of the better episodes again, and it was a pretty good send-off for a lot of these characters, so to speak, and the way they ended everything. But if you guys remember, Jack was the former cop, and he was getting all the blisters and acting really strange, and then nice and strange. We find out how that's all intertwined with El Cuco, the outsider, and Jack's character. So he's on a murderous rampage, and he starts killing people, essentially. That sets up episode 10. There's this really great shootout in the beginning of episode 10 out on these rocks in the caves, and Jack is on top of this rock, and he's just like sniping people that get out of their cars, and he's like drinking whiskey and just getting all fucked up, and you know he's out of his mind. It's not him anymore. He's being controlled by the outsider, El Cuco. He's out of his mind, and he just starts killing people. It's super brutal and gory right from the get-go of the episode. A lot is at stake at this point. Really great scene, really great setup of the episode, and also has a scene with a rattlesnake that's kind of, you know, slithering up on this rock by Jack, where he's sniping people and gets bit, and he comes down, he got bit in the face or whatever, and he's all full of venom, and he looks like he's transforming into the outsider. It's transformation, so to speak, but it all has to do with this rattlesnake, which I guess is a big part of the book. Again, I haven't read the novel, so I don't know how true they stated the source material, but that scene was really great, where he comes down and basically tells, you know, Holly Gibney, her boyfriend, the rest of the people, Ralph and all them, tells them where the outsider is located. He's inside of this cave. Go in there and kill him. So I thought that was a really great scene with Jack. I thought his character was pretty good throughout the season. It's a guy, you know, you couldn't trust, and he's evil, and he's up to no good, and it wasn't going to end well for him. But the scene in the cave was really good, but there's also a lot of similarities to the book It by Stephen King, with the transformation of Pennywise the Clown. But they go in and find El Cuco, And I don't want to say too much, especially if you guys haven't seen this. I don't want to spoil too much the way everything goes down, but having to do with Ralph's character and Holly Gibney's character and trying to stop this creature, the supernatural presence, once and for all, stop it from killing and transforming. I thought that scene was really great inside the cave, minus it having similarities to it, but I thought it was shot very well. And you don't really know as an audience what's going to happen to Holly Gibney or Ralph's characters. Are they going to survive? Are they going to kill El Cuco? For the most part, I thought that was a really good ending and scene to the TV show, and seeing where they can go from here, different paths, different stories they can do with this TV show. I think Richard Price has already been talking about on season 2. Kind of makes you think as an audience that this isn't it. There's definitely going to be some sort of supernatural presence in the future. If it's some sort of El Cuco, how he transforms into another person, how they're going to lead this. But there's definitely a lot of ways they can go with this TV show and different paths with these characters. But overall, for the most part, the first season of Outsider, I was a bit underwhelmed. I felt really bored from like episode 4 on up until episode 9 and 10, the last 2. So I think I actually enjoyed 4 out of the 10 episodes, which is like 40%. That's not a very good percentage, but I thought the show really started out strong and ended strong in between, not so much, but I really had a great time with the last 2 episodes. Those were really intense, like edge of your seat, made me super anxious, not really sure what's going to happen to these characters. Are they going to find El Cuco, and who's going to survive and die? In terms of the acting, I really enjoyed Ben Mendelsohn's character playing Ralph. Again, Cynthia Erivo playing Holly Gibney, really fantastic powerhouse performance. I thought she went to a really quirky place with this character, and her portrayal of the character is really well done, and definitely one of the best performances of the season. But in terms of like the writing and some of the directing was not great, having different people associated with different episodes, it just didn't feel as cohesive. Towards the middle of the season, it wasn't as interesting. It was more of a slow burn and not a lot going on, just a lot of talking and not really getting to the point. So I think they could have cut off a lot of that extra fat there in the middle and just maybe did 7 episodes. I don't know, but it just didn't work in the middle. And towards the end, they really found their footing and ended it really well. And I enjoyed how these characters went out and what it all means and what questions we have for the next season. But overall, I had a pretty decent time with The Outsider. It was not as great as I thought it would be, a little lackluster in the middle, but I did enjoy some of the episodes, the beginning and ending, and seeing where they're going to go from here. The directing, showrunner Richard Price did a pretty good job with this. The best parts of the show were definitely the performances by Cynthia Erivo and Ben Mendelsohn, really top notch. Dealing with a very dark subject here, having to do with the supernatural presence, the killing of children, and feeding off of grief. It's hard to capture everything from a book into a TV show, but I thought they did a pretty good job, and it definitely sparked my interest into reading this novel, The Outsider, and hopefully I'll get around to it here in the quarantine. So I'm going to give the first season of The Outsider on HBO a 3 out of 5 Ben Mendelsohn head pieces, boys. So if you guys did check out the first season of The Outsider on HBO, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What did you guys think of that ending? What do you think is going to happen if they do another season? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out with El Cuco up here in the spooky caves. Ooh. Until the next video review. Cheers!